The burden of malaria nationally is a problem, as Cameroon accounts for the top 10 countries most affected by malaria in the world. And in the southwest region, in our health facilities, 1 out of every 3 consultations that we have is due to malaria. And even in the community, the burden is very high. We have very high incidence or very high number of cases, surpassing 100 cases per 100,000 inhabitants in most of our health districts, including the health district of Tiko, Limbe, Manfi, just to name a few. So the burden is very high. Everyone is at risk of having malaria, but particularly children less than 5 are the ones who are most affected. If you look at your watch right now, the next 1 minute, according to WHO and UNICEF statistics, a child is going to die somewhere because of malaria. It could be my child, it could be your child, it could be your neighbor's child. So the burden is quite high. Not only these children are more liable to die because of malaria because they have weaker immunity, and also they are the ones who mostly have severe cases of malaria and die. Malaria accounts for almost half of all deaths recorded in children less than 5, and mostly children less than 5 are the ones who suffer from severe cases due to malaria. Pregnant women are also another vulnerable group. Burden is so high that we cannot relent our efforts. We must continue to implement all what we know to ensure that we take action towards the fight against malaria. Each family member should take the responsibility to ensure that they sleep under treated mosquito nets every night, as most very effective in the fight against malaria. Also, we are given to prevent malaria for this vulnerable group. So ensure that your child goes for vaccination regularly and completes all their vaccination schedule, because medications will be given there to prevent malaria. Your child will also benefit from mosquito nets to prevent malaria. We should all take action and act towards the
In the satellite of the health field in the Southwest region, the head of the immunization unit of the Southwest region, Dr. Pamela Obentu, on her part says it's quite vital for children to be vaccinated against malaria, as malaria remains one of the deadliest diseases in tropical Africa. More with her on this interview conducted by Alice Lekelengu once again.
Dr. Oben Pamela, I coordinate the expanded program for immunization for the Southwest region of Cameroon. And I'm talking to you today about the malaria vaccine introduction. When we talk about the malaria vaccine, what are we talking about? We're talking about an additional tool that has been put in place by the government to fight malaria. The malaria vaccine is the first vaccine. We're talking about the RTSS vaccine in this case, the first vaccine that has been introduced in the world, but also in Cameroon, to fight malaria. It is a tool that will be added in collaboration with chemo prevention, with the intermittent preventive treatment for malaria, and also with sleeping under treated mosquito nets to be able to fight this disease that is very, very predominant in the country. Looking at the Southwest region, we're envisaging introducing this vaccine to some health districts. We're talking about the district of Tiko, the district of Limbe, and the district of Manfe, because these districts have a high predominance in terms of morbidity and mortality to malaria. We see that these districts are also other districts that are very good in terms of following through with routine immunization. So it will be a good opportunity that all the vaccine doses for malaria, I'm looking at the first dose, which is administered at 6 months, the second dose at 7 months, the third at 9 months, and the fourth at 24 months to be administered successfully in these districts. Now, the malaria vaccine is not the first of its kind to be administered in Cameroon. We're looking at a vaccine that has taken, first of all, a long time to be developed, over 60 years of development and research on the malaria vaccine, and 30 years for this particular vaccine, the RTSS vaccine we're talking about. And pilot phases have been conducted in other African countries such as Malawi, Ghana, and Kenya, where over 2 million children have been vaccinated. So in summary, this vaccine is very safe, it's effective, and has shown to be able to reduce the number of hospitalizations and various severe forms of malaria that are very predominant in children, such as anemia. We're also looking at the number of hospitalizations that have been significantly reduced following administration of this vaccine. So we are looking forward that when this vaccine is administered to our children in this district and also in other districts who will be receiving the vaccine subsequently, there will be reduction of this burden in malaria. Uh, the administration of the malaria vaccine also gives opportunity to reinforce administration of other EPI vaccines, but also intermittent preventive treatment, which is an effective strategy that is being used to combat malaria in children below 5 years. By going to the hospital at 6 months, 7 months, 9 months, and 24 months, these children will not only be able to receive the malaria vaccine, but it will be an opportunity to evaluate and see whether they are receiving their IPT, intermittent preventive treatment, correctly, whether they are receiving the other vaccines in the EPI program correctly. Also an opportunity to look at their nutritional status and to be able to ensure that these children are well protected. Like I earlier mentioned, the malaria vaccine introduction is going to commence in these 3 priority health districts because of their high burden, but it's also going to extend to other districts in the Southwest region to ensure that all our children are protected against this deadly and very endemic disease.
Thank you to Dr. Pamela Oben, who happens to be the head of the immunization unit of the Southwest region. We talked the South one that happened in the town of Tiko, that is along the Tiko Douala Road in the Southwest region. A road accident along the Tiko Douala Road stretch has claimed 1 life and left 5 others seriously injured as a result of a head-on collision with a marked Toyota vehicle that collided with a heavy-duty truck this midday afternoon over there in the Southwest region. According to eyewitness accounts, both drivers were trying to dodge from one of the numerous potholes along the National Road number 3, that is the Tiko Douala Road. As it stands, the remains of the lone victim has been deposited at the Tiko Regional District Hospital mortuary, while the 5 remaining others are currently receiving medical attention at the said health facility. 4 out of the 5 persons are in a critical state, while as a result of the road accident, as many witnesses on the ground accounting that the lone victim, who happens to be a military personnel, goes by the name Letitsak Gustav Jonkang. What's mentioning this accident is coming into place barely after some few hours where a similar road accident equally took place over there in that same stretch, claiming 1 life. According to one of the eyewitnesses, which our news reporter Jabi Keti caught up with at that stretch, recounts the genesis of the accident.
This small motorway is there for you. We come out Douala, we go up. Close in the Tengene. Why camion motor, they come go to Douala side. So as they reach the small motor, one touch the pothole. As one touch the pothole now, where the camion now they come now the other side. Now they go jump. Now the camion now pushing now, go never push side to the other side for that place. So the motor that way they go down this. Well, I'm not really know. I'm not really know, but not one person died. And then the other one got injured. How rushed the hospital with some small boy. Yeah, so one blood will come up for if it's sleep or dance or the receipt blood will come up for him up. Really? So it come up for his face, right? Come up. And then some man will do fat, blood will come up for his skin. And then that thing that he gets in the end. It will be tear his face. The time. 12 o'clock. In at 12, around 12 o'clock.
Some are too collegiate. They behave. So that way you say petrol today. If a more car beg, you say no, may go help people save today. You say one go rest of house. If a more go rest house, how many minutes? You know how many minutes? That motor carry that remote from a place. Go and my dog with this. Most of the finish come at the bottom. And the other side, motor end up that food today. They wash their hands for you. Don't play with them and walk with them. They help you to easy go to the because this pot for the place, and I make a say those people that like for all of that place. They don't help you.
On to education. Computer science and information technology need to have the same numbers of hours as compared to other regular subjects in the secondary school milieu. This pronouncement came from the Southwest Regional Delegate for Secondary Education, Dr. Hanambwa Etonde, who is advocating for computer science and information technology to have the same hours across the various schools in the secondary schools in Cameroon and the region at large. She was speaking to Alice Lekelengo.
The world is becoming a global village, and as things are evolving, the Ministry of Secondary Education is doing all in her power to ensure that the system moves with time. Emphasis has been laid on the aspect of teaching computer science and information communication technology in secondary and high schools. This is very important in the life of these students, as they can fit in any environment in which they find themselves. Computer science and information communication technology at the high school level should have the same number of hours as other main subjects, which is 8 hours per week. Computer science and information communication technology should be considered as a separate subject. Consequently, students of both subjects should not be combined. With these measures put forth by Minister Nalova Lyonga, it will act as enhancer in the boosting and fast-tracking of a sustainable, tech-oriented Cameroon.
You are watching High Prime, and we are coming to you live from our main studio here in High Television. We move over to the Northwest region, where the Northwest Regional Assembly has welcomed one and the first Cameroonian to produce a motorbike in that technological sphere. The young Cameroonian by the name of Fon Blaise was heartily welcomed by the president and other hierarchical figures of the Northwest Regional Assembly over there in Bamenda. The said gentleman hails from Noni subdivision of the said region. As the Regional Assembly says, they will go to assist the said young man when it comes to the manufacturing of motorbikes. More with our reporter who traveled to Bamenda for that story. He is Fon Blaise, a young dynamic welding engineer practicing in the country's financial hub of Douala, who has opened a new page in Cameroon's technological sector with the manufacturing of the country's first motorcycle.
The moment was the bike is nice and it's running well. There's no problem in it. Okay.
With an incurred cost between 400 to 500,000 francs and a purchasing power of 1 million francs, the young manufacturer deemed it necessary to present his product to the hierarchy of the Northwest Regional Assembly.
This is the first distance I have tested the bike into, but unfortunately I climbed the hill of off-station in less than no minute, which I myself I was still doubting, but unfortunately the bike proved to me that no, what I was doubting is not what I'm thinking about. So the bike, I climbed the hill so powerful. The bike was so powerful.
To the person who trained him in the said field is a quite satisfied gentleman whose former apprentice is now a success story.
This begin as I did talk. I discovered this begin yesterday. They don't make this bike we make and so. And I've been so impressed. So I will talk to somebody come for you, can't see me. Then tell me how we will start for make this bike, what will be the difficulties we get up to make this bike, and what way it will work. He want for only begin make these bikes, or he want for begin make any other thing. So I don't decide say I will commit for council for help this begin. But you will need what way he want for do. So I will talk with him, he tell me the difficulties, then I will see how for council to empower you, help you, or continue for this one way. But this one, it will make you not be idle. You don't be for town. At least the other brothers, they're there for bush or honor. If you encourage them to through this work, make them come for town, kind of. And I'll be ready. We've been open a workshop for you.
Being the first of its kind in the nation, the Northwest Regional Assembly President and his team welcomed the idea and promised to assist the young man in all quarters. By so doing, they will be assisting the nation of Cameroon fulfill her vision of an emerging economy by 2035. We talk history on this newscast. It's exactly 53 years after the gruesome killing of Cameroonian nationalist and freedom fighter Enes Wanzi by the Ahidjo regime in compliance with the French government. Many Cameroonians see Enes Wanzi as someone who stood for the immediate independence of then East Cameroon from the French and reunification with former British Southern Cameroons, as the French government in compliance with Ahidjo saw him as an enemy to them but decided to kill him in a popular square in Bafoussam. Our reporter has more on that historicity of that gentleman.
15 January 1971 in his native land of Bafoussam, the West region, was a sad day for all those who fought for the independence and reunification of then French Cameroon on 1st January 1960, as they saw their hero Enes Wanzi being killed by the French soldiers. Being an active member of the first political party in then La République du Cameroun (UPC), Enes Wanzi was a trained teacher practicing in Ezeka in today's central region of Cameroon. Enes Wanzi was court-martialed by the military tribunal in Yaoundé and sentenced to death.
Il demeure un mouvement franchement anticolonialiste et je dirais anti-impérialiste. Parce que l'UPC estime que la libération d'un pays du système colonial doit, si elle doit être réalisée, se faire de façon effective et totale.
During the colonial days, the French committed a lot of atrocities in the land, as one of the French soldiers recounts.
Je voulais voir cet officier qui était avec moi, c'était qu'il n'y ait surtout pas de comment dirais-je, de gens qui puissent aller raconter ça et qu'on puisse impliquer justement, comme il y avait encore quelques militaires français, qu'on puisse impliquer la France dans ces affaires-là.
Enes Wanzi was an active freedom fighter who was mentored by Omniube, Felix Roland Mumi, who all were of the same political party, and later then Nelson Mandela of South Africa, who all contributed enormously in his struggle for a free and equitable Cameroon. Prior to his killing in 1971, Enes Wanzi, Felix Roland Mumi, moved to Kumba in then British Southern Cameroon for safety, as they were persecuted.
Mieux vaut mourir debout.
Being killed in what was then known as Carrefour Makiza, that has transformed into Carrefour Mataya in Bafoussam, all those who held his vision were given a time warning, that is, if you continue in your fight, you will definitely end up like Enes Wanzi. Though killed some 53 years ago, his legacy and vision still remains and lives in the lives of many Cameroonians and Africans and the world at large.
May the soul of Enes Wanzi and other national Mataya who fought for immediate independence and reunification continue resting in the bosom of the Lord. With that historic report, this is where we draw the curtains of tonight's newscast, High Prime, of Wednesday, the 17th of January 2024. Thanks for watching and good night from the same.